Obviously, not a very good game by us today, but give Indianapolis credit. They played well in all three phases. They were able to capitalize on some of the mistakes that we made, and certainly took control of the game. And just kept that all the way through the second half. So we got to just keep working. We got to keep grinding here to get better. We got a big game this week, and from that standpoint, we got to learn from the mistakes today. Understand what Indianapolis did well against us, and we got to get that fixed and go forward from there.
All right, Justin Rogers.
Matt, you talked about control in that statement. In the first half, Indianapolis, the control was really lopsided. I think 22 minutes to 8. Your offense couldn't stay on the field. How much stress, strain does that put on a defense, not just in the first half, but continuing on to the second half with fatigue?
Well, I think, certainly in the first half, I thought we had some opportunities there that we really missed. We really had a chance to kind of settle things down. We didn't do that. We went at halftime understanding that, we got to play 60 minutes. We'd have another 30 minutes of football, and we needed to reset and go out and play better. Thought we started to turn it a little bit that way, but, again, give Indianapolis credit. They were able to sustain it and, push it all the way through the end. So it is certainly difficult, in those situations. You want to try to do your best to stay balanced all the way through the game. And when that's not happening, it kind of just gets a little bit away from you in those situations.
And there was a critical moment there in the second quarter. You had the third down stop on the sack, and there was a bit of a scuffle after the play. The flag was on Danny Shelton. I'm just wondering, can you clarify, because that flag came out so far after the actual play, it didn't make a lot of sense from the press box.
Yeah. We obviously can't get a penalty in that situation. Really, I think it was more of the act during the play. I think it just, I don't know if they threw it later than what it looked like. So we can't have those situations. Those are, certainly not in that situation where it's critical. We got them stopped, and then obviously give them a second chance. You give Phillip Rivers a second chance, and, they got points out of it. So we got to play better. We got to play smarter in those situations.
Thank you, Matt.
Justin Rose.
Hey, Matt, after a couple of weeks of progress, did you feel like this was a step back for your team? And what was the biggest disappointment for you today?
Yeah. Obviously, I think, we understand every single week the teams we play get better. As the season goes on in the NFL, you got to improve. No one stays the same. Everyone, gets better and the competition gets harder. So from that aspect of it, we got a lot of work to do. We got to go back to work and just kind of keep grinding it out here. And, we got to play better. We got to coach better, and we got to play better. That's the bottom line. Like I said, give Indianapolis credit. They coached and played better than we did today, and we got to go back to work.
And Marv talked about consistency. You guys have talked about that for years now. What is it about consistency that is so hard to find?
Yeah, I think for us, certainly today was not a very consistent game for us. So, that's something we can look at and say we got to improve that. We got to get better at that. So, it's always hard. It's the NFL. Things are competitive every single week. There's great players on both sides of the ball. And like I said, Indianapolis was, they're a great team. They're really good in all three phases. They play very good complementary football, and they did that today.
Rothstein.
Hey, Matt, how are you? Why do you feel like your team struggles so much at home?
Obviously just kind of focused on today. We just didn't play well enough today. Like I said, if Indianapolis credit, they outplayed us, they outcoached us. We gotta go back to work, and we gotta get it.
But that seems to keep happening when you play at a play. Coaches always say, players always say, you got to win your home games, and it always seems like that happens when you're at home. This is 7 in a row now. So I'm just trying to understand why maybe that keeps happening. That you are getting maybe outcoached, outplayed, day in, day out.
Yeah, like I said, just let's give Indianapolis credit for today. They did a great job. We didn't play well.
And with Kenny Golladay, what level of seriousness, what level of concern do you have that this is maybe a serious injury for him?
I think we had a couple things today that we got to, I'll sort through and find out and get more information.
Thanks, Matt.
All right, time for two more. Dave and then Chris.
Matt, real quick, I just wanted to clarify your understanding on the Shelton penalty was it was the takedown on the sack. It wasn't something when the pushing and shoving was going on. Just want to be.
Yeah, sure. That was, it was, I think it was more the play itself.
Okay. And then can you explain the offensive line rotation today? Just, why bench Crosby, why go with Vaitai and the lineup that you did?
Yeah, I think for us, obviously we're always going to try to do what we think is right to help us win, and certainly with some of the practice situations we had this week, and then where we were with Dak, and then some of the movement that we had during the course of the preparation. Just I thought it was better kind of leave everybody where they were. We got 6 guys that have started for us, and we have confidence in all those guys.
All right, and then the last thing for me, I guess the critical eye would look at sort of what you guys have done here and say you beat a couple 1-win teams and you lose to a team that's above 500. You've struggled against some of these teams. How do you sort of answer that in terms of your ability to compete with these above average teams in the NFL?
I think again for us, everybody's every game is hard. Every team is good and they have a lot of talent. And next week's team that'll be harder than this week because every week people get better. The records, we can't look at that all the time. We just try to do the best we can to win now.
All right, thank you.
All right, Chris, last question.
Hey, Matt. You always talk about complementary football. You mentioned it. You guys weren't able to get the run game going at all today. Just wondering if something happened up there that you noticed that they were doing particularly well that didn't let you go on, and how much that held you back.
Yeah, obviously they have a very good run defense. They've been that way all year. I think they do a phenomenal job. They've got good players up there and some movement up front that gave us some issues, and I thought they did a good job with the pressure calls too. They hit some of those and created some negative plays against us. So we got to handle all that. We got to do a better job of it, and we got to be able to run the ball. It's just bottom line.
And then you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but it looked like on the 2-point conversion and maybe one other play, you guys were short a guy on defense. I don't know if you had any thoughts on those.
I think we had a bad substitution on that situation. Communication needs to be better there.
Thanks, Matt.